Here we welcome you another fresh episode of Thoughts on Education. So sir, first of all, we want to know about you, sir. मतलब आपके बारे में थोड़ा जानना चाहते हैं.
Well, at the outset, let me thank you for taking your time out. It's a very difficult time that we are all going through. It's wonderful to see both of you smiling, and particularly the connect is very interesting because you have been all part of this wonderful School of Management. I was like you, when I started my career, I was exactly like you, very undisciplined, full of life, having interest in everything. So if you really ask me who I am, I would say that I am someone who takes interest in everything. Whether it is sports, cricket, cinema, or dance, or writing, photography, or reading good poems, or even connecting with everybody. I have interest in everything. And one thing I remember, which Kalam told me, that it's not very important to be happy, but it's more important to be interested. Always remember, are you becoming a bomb or are you interested to other people? So therefore, if you really ask me who I am, well, I spent about 26 years in the government, in different capacities in the Defence Ministry in particular. Then for the last 10 years, I have been teaching in the law school. Then subsequently, I was the director of the School of Leadership. And for the last 5 years, I have been your dean. So if you ask me what I am, I would say that I combine the boredom of a bureaucrat with the excitement of a teacher, and most importantly, I feel young. I feel that I am a 27-year-old, and because the school has given me that opportunity to be young once again.
Nice, sir. So, sir, you have held such key position at education institute for your professional career. So, what are your factors that keep you connected with the education sector?
First thing, I must say that, in an educational institution, the biggest challenge is that you find students with the different levels of intelligence and different backgrounds. You find some people who are not particularly proficient in English. You'll find some students who are not particularly interested in academics. So as a teacher, the biggest challenge is how keen are you to get to that level and bring all of that to a certain level. Because the first lesson for a teacher is how not to discriminate between a student who is not particularly academically good and a student who appears to be academically very good. The second biggest factor, very important factor for me is that when you join a college, we happen to be your academic fathers. We are like your surrogate parents. So the most important thing is whether you are approachable, whether you are genuinely fond of them. I'll just tell you a small incident. I had gone to Chennai and I met my professor who met me after 46 years. So when I touched his feet, so he said, Misra, how are you? So I said, sir, you remember me? You taught me only for 3 months. You taught me econometrics. I'm talking of Keval Krishna, a very famous econometrician. But he recognized me after 46 years. So I said, sir, how do you remember my name? He said, the first job of a teacher is to know the name of his student. You'll find very few teachers who remember the names of all the teachers. And I think nothing gives a greater kick to a student than when you call them by their name. And immediately there is a synergy. And the last thing I would like to mention is that many times we become extremely irritated when student is not particularly responsive. Now, I would place myself in the same position because if I am watching Premier League and I've gone to sleep at 3 o'clock and there's a class at 9 o'clock, it is impossible to expect a student to be to have taken bath, to have cut his nails, or to be attentive. So one has to be very patient, and more than patience, you have to step into their shoes. Be a student like yourself, what you used to do. So therefore, the last thing I would like to mention is that a teacher should not be judgmental, that and there is so much to learn from each other's association. So these are the few things. These are the few things that I thought that as a teacher, should need to. And finally, very important thing I would like to mention is students look up to a teacher for being very impartial. Extremely, extremely important. The moment the students know that you are not doing a favor to a good-looking girl or somebody who is from your state. So when you are teaching in institutions like School of Management, you have students from different states, you have boys, girls. So how do you become impartial? That's a very, very big challenge. And many of us, many teachers, are not able to do that. So we have to come out of our fold as an Oriya or a Bengali or a Hindu and think that it is a relationship between two equals. And all these considerations have no meaning.
All right, sir. So also we'd like to know that what is your philosophy of your leadership? So how would you describe your leadership style?
Very important question, because there are all kinds of leadership styles. I think the most important characteristic of a leader is whether he is able to inspire people around him to follow his mission. I'll give an example. It is very easy for me to tell my subordinates or those who are working with me, do that. This you have to achieve in 6 months' time. This is very easy. The other is where the others feel inspired that we must do it. I'll give an example to you. When in 1997, India fired the atomic bomb, so America said, we will not give you anything now for your scientific programs. So Dr. Kalam called all the scientists. So he said that a challenge is an opportunity. If the USA was not denying this, then I don't think we will try to develop. So he called all the scientists that you try to develop an indigenous aircraft. And that is how today you have the light combat aircraft. If the Americans had not denied this. So the point I'm trying to mention is that he inspired all of us that India can make a light combat aircraft. And it was not forced on us. So the biggest challenge before the leader is by his conduct, by his vision, how you are able to inspire others to share that vision. It is not as if that Kalam is saying this or Mr. Modi is saying this. I say that yes, Swachh Bharat means I am not doing it because the Prime Minister is saying this. I am doing this because I should do this. So that is what we call as inspirational leadership. And I very, very strongly believe that that is the way that the inspirational leader can only make things different. Because you feel as part of the program, voluntarily. Nobody has forced you. So even if you fail, you say, no, I had taken up this mission. I tried my very best. And the last thing I want to mention about a good leader is that there will be always failures. It is not as if that you will always succeed. Again, a small incident, Kalam told me that, when they fired the first Agni missile, it was not successful. And Rajiv Gandhi had gone with Kalam to Baraso for that demonstration. So everyone was watching, and no one was prepared to tell the Prime Minister that the mission has failed. So all their faces failed. So Kalam says that 1:30 lunch was to be served, and the Prime Minister came. The Prime Minister didn't find Dr. Kalam. So he said, where is he? So where is he? And then somebody said that Kalam is in his room. So Rajiv Gandhi went and knocked at the door of Dr. Kalam, and Kalam was weeping. Then Rajiv Gandhi put his hand around him and he told him that, I'm proud of you. You have tried your best. But do you think that I can have lunch without you being around? That's inspirational leadership. He said, you take it from me that next year Agni will be successful. So he always tells me that failure for a leader, failure is the window to success. And only inspirational leader can bring that kind of a feeling to the team. I mean, it should not be the case that if you have failed, so I have never seen him admonishing anybody in any program. Because he takes ownership. He will take ownership. The last thing I thought I'll just mention to you is about a good leader. That again, giving example of Kalam, that when one of the missions failed, so the mission director was approached by the press people that what happened. So Kalam said, no, you don't have to speak, I will speak. So the program director was very touched that Kalam defended him. The same program, when it was successful, the program director requested Kalam to speak. Kalam didn't speak. So, one of the greatest lessons of leadership is, when you fail, when your team fails, you defend your team. When your team succeeds, you give the credit to the team leader rather than you having the land. How do you like this approach? That means, when success is there, give the credit to people who have done it. Don't say, hey, maine ye kar liya, maine ukhad liya. No. But whenever there is a failure, you look at Mahendra Singh Dhoni, one of the best examples of leadership. Can you find a single Indian cricket captain who, after winning the World Cup in 2011, will allow Sachin Tendulkar to take the lead and remain in the background? You show me one. Show me one leader who will remain in the background and not, take the entire credit. Again, a wonderful side of leadership. When you allow others in a moment of supreme joy to enjoy it, but remain in the background, people will respect you for that. Why is he so respected? Why Kohli? Whenever he's playing, why Kohli is so respectful towards him? Because he. So therefore, it is very important. It's very, very important that we, as leaders, three things. One is your impartiality, your inspirational character, and how you defend your own team for that failure. For me, that is it has always been the case that you must defend people when they have not succeeded. And the kind of support you'll get from that, they will die for it.
Yes, very great to know such inspirational stories. So again, I would like to ask that, so being the Dean of the KIIT School of Management, so what are your roles and responsibilities towards this school?
There are two basic roles I perform here. One is improving the academic standard and improve the research standards. Because in all of us, whether you are a student or a faculty member or a dean, all of us would like to know more about a thing. I keep on saying that all of us have sense, but we do not have depth. So what I have tried to inculcate in this school is how to encourage students, faculty members to write more and more research papers. And you'll be happy to know that today, from a score of 5 in research, we have a score of 70 in 5 years of research. So, I would like to take a little credit for this, that I've been able to inspire my faculty members. When I joined here as Dean, only 5 people were getting PhD. Today it is 20. We are the number 1. Many projects we are getting from the government of India. This is one area. The other area is that, being very open to students. When somebody comes, you share your thoughts with them. I have always seen that whenever a youngster comes to you and you are not patronizing towards them, they really like it. On a one-to-one basis, you talk to them. And so many students will come, they have their own difficulties, they understand some clarity. So I always feel that, you must have time for your own students. Mr. Bajpayee, who was my director, once told me that, while he was sitting, so I asked one student not to come inside the room. Never discourage a student from coming to your room. Your priority is students, not me. Your room should be always open for the students. Even if you are eating, the students have the first right to interact. It's a great lesson because, as you know, I was a bureaucrat. So we used to discourage people from coming to you. He'll always say, is the right level coming to you? Why is he coming to me? But not in academic institutions. And that is why I think I have made myself extremely welcome to anybody who comes, any student who comes, and not be judgmental. So I think these are the two things in my own way. And of course, the third thing that I thought that I was a reasonably good teacher to economics. I know for a fact that most of the students were happy to have an interaction with economics because I used to dictate the basic concepts. Secondly, I used to be very energetic in the class. And most of the students, even very unmindful students, have told me that sir, हमें बड़ा मजा है. So I keep on saying कि जो भी काम करो, यार, you must enjoy it. जैसे है ना? So it's very important, that you should not consider study to be an inflection. You should enjoy it, and that's very, very important.
So, sir, what do you think the K-Zone top priority over the next 10 years?
I think there are 2-3 things. We still remain a second tier management institution. We need to get into the first. That means when you come here, you should not feel that I am Ahmedabad Udagan. So, and this is not a very wishy-washy expectation. We can always do that. I can tell you from experience that the faculty members that we have here are as good as anyone I've seen in the other top class institutes. So that's the first thing. I like not to be also ranked, not to be a semi-finalist, but a champion. So I should be in the league of the champions. The second thing I would like the school to happen is that my students should also go to top-class management institutes around. There should be an exchange program. You find there are many management schools where there is an exchange program. So, supposing you go to Harvard Business School, spend 2 months there. Some students from Harvard come and spend some time. Then, you feel that you are part of a global platform where there is no difference. So, I think we need to do it. So exchange programs should be. And third thing I would like to do it, that I would like the teachers to be far more friendly with the students, and particularly at the top level, at the greatest level at all. I always feel that fear should never be the key. All of you must be knowing about Franklin D. Roosevelt, who is considered to be the greatest politician of all times. And he said only one thing for which he is great. He said, the only thing I fear is fear itself. The only thing I fear is fear itself. He used to say that there should be freedom from fear. If you are here talking to me, there should be no fear in our mind that sir kya sochenge, kya hamare time le liye, itne sir ka humne time liye. No. Freedom from fear. Democracy survives. Democracy will flourish only when there is freedom from fear. Because then, even if you say something wrong, I didn't know what you want to tell me. I have always said this, that unless somebody is personally abusive, मुझे गाली दिया माँ बहन करके, then only I feel bad. Otherwise, if somebody says something very critically, कि सर आप अच्छा नहीं पढ़ाते, ये नहीं करते, I listen to it. Have you ever seen me upbraiding any student? Have you ever seen shouting at any student? Never. It will never be there. But, so therefore, it's extremely important that I would like to see that you have far more friendly leaders at the top, because then students can do. I have no doubts in my mind that all of you are responsible, because ultimately you know that you have to also lead your own life. You know what competition is around you. So people are innately responsible. I do not agree with the general perception that youngsters are irresponsible. Youngsters are indisciplined. I do not buy those ideas at all. They are the most responsible. They understand what is happening around them. So therefore, I think I'm looking at an environment where we become less judgmental about youngsters. Only when you are less judgmental, then only you harvest the best of it. मैंने अपने बहू के साथ स्क्रच पीता, समझ गया, और उतना वो मानती है मेरे को, largely because वो जानती है that I will be very friendly with her, and she finds in me as a good friend. I can be a friend only when you feel comfortable. I'm like what should I say, a sounding board. Sir, ये कैसा लगा, क्या लगा? So if you are not frank enough to tell me all this, then I failed as a leader. अगर तुम अपने दिल की बात नहीं बता पाए, क्या होता था in the good old days? We are not able to confide in our fathers, in our parents. एक fear था, जो fear की बात मैंने बताया ना, एक fear था. तो एक last चीज मैं बताना चाहता हूँ. Compared to the times that we went through and now, the biggest thing that has happened is that knowledge has become flat. With the internet around, nobody today has a monopoly of knowledge. So whether you are a 16-year-old or a 60-year-old, all of you have access to internet. All of you have access to internet. So therefore, I don't have any superiority of knowledge over you. आप भी कहेंगे सर ये तो सर आपने वो नेट से दिया. So why do you respect me? You respect me only when I can say something more than what you watch in the internet, isn't it? Or something which you are not able. So today knowledge is flight. So ये सब जो है ना कि मैं सर प्रोफेसर हूँ, ये लेक्चर, ये सब those things don't count. ये आपके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है कितना है.
Alright, sir. So my last question to you would be like, any suggestion you'd like to give to the current youth and aspiring students?
I think the only thing I'd like to suggest to all of you is how you manage time. You know, during our time, there was no distraction. I didn't have the mobile phone. I didn't have the net. I didn't have the Netflix. So today, there are many exciting things where you would like to spend your time. But you know that those things that you do can affect your own work. So just like we talk of women, that how do they manage their own life, work-life balance. So the biggest challenge for youngsters is how do you manage your time? So that's the biggest challenge, and it is entirely up to you how you manage time. Say for instance, I also watch Netflix like all of you, but I go to sleep at 11. And I have a Labrador, so who will wake me up at 5:30. He is not going to say कि 2 बजे आपने सोया डैडी तो आप 7 बजे उठो. वो थप्पड़ देगा आपको तो 7:30 बजे उठाओ. So he brings discipline to you. Are you getting the point? So the great advantage of having a pet is that he reminds you that 5:30 is the time you will go out. So speaking seriously, time management is one. Second, very, very important thing is that you have to bring something new to the table. Now, supposing India lost to Pakistan, there's a discussion. Now, if you are saying the same thing, उनका bowling बड़ा अच्छा था ये था, nobody listens. People will listen to you if you say something different. Please remember, this is very important in life, that whether you are doing something different from others, whether you are bringing some new things to the table, is how you will be judged better than others. If there are 100 people, those 2-3 people will go to the top who are putting their best foot forward to be different. And finally, one is of course time management, the other is third thing is very, very important in life, how you conduct yourself in the public. Now, you can do anything you like inside your house. You can have any kind of relationship with a girl and anything. But outside, when you are in a public place, you can have a business, you can do anything at your home. But in a public place, your conduct is extreme. There are many directors who are much junior to me. But when I have to walk up to the stage, I will ask them to lead. Just because I am older than them. So therefore, how you conduct in public is extremely important. So your conduct in the public, how you behave yourself is extremely, extremely important. So therefore, there is a private life which is your own. Nobody has a bloody business to comment on that. When you come to the public, people will judge you. People will say, कि यार डेन साहब जो है ना ऐसे ही दारू पी के जो है ना बाहर पिटी कर बदतमीजी कर. That's a big shame. So therefore, when public personalities do something wrong, they will be questioned. So therefore, your public life, you don't have to be a Salman Khan, you don't have to be Amitabh Bachchan, or you don't have to be Bill Gates. But your public conduct, is extremely key. How you conduct yourself. That's it.
Alright, sir. We are very fortunate to have you with us. And thank you for giving us time, sir.